to Gav goes in. Big up to Christopher McGrath. It's the morning after the madness. Hope you've all got rid of your hangovers by now. How's Fitz doing this morning? Well, yeah, listen, boy. I haven't spoken to Fitz this morning, but just like myself, I'm pretty sure Fitz is in an upbeat mood, put it that way, you know. But listen, man. What a day yesterday. What a weekend. And the rest of this week, you know, plans to be good as well, man. So yeah, you know what it is. This is probably the first time in a while, you know, obviously apart from the Man City game, that I've actually been, you know, I'm actually in a good mood, you know, because this club, you know, has been frustrating for years, and you know what it is. It's just one of them things for me now that, you know, we can literally be happy that we've got a coach in Michael Carrick, a coaching staff that are, you know, making us as Manchester United fans dream again. You know, and that's all I asked for, really. You know, I just wanted to see some good football. You know, I just wanted to see the team being set up in a way, you know, to not only nullify the opposition's attacks, but to be dangerous on the counter and be, you know, decent or good in possession. You know, that's all we could have really asked for. And I think the fact that, you know, we are going to be losing the Casemiro. Oh, Juventus looking at Xerxes. Boy. So yeah, the fact that we are losing the Casemiro, you know, and obviously, hopefully, and there's been talks about Bruno being moved on as well. You know, we're going to be in the conversations for midfielders, and you add midfielders to this team, you know, all of a sudden this team's looking frightening, you know, and it's good what Ineos have done. You know, they've literally, yeah, done the transfer window in, you know, in halves in a sense. So they've got the midfielders in, you know, they've got the they've got the forwards in. It was a defense before that, and now, as I said, man, it's one of them things. We're just looking at the midfield in the summer. Big up to Fitz, big up my guy, big up. So yeah, man, listen, there's things to look forward to, and what I would say, you know, this weekend just gone, yeah, man, I was happy with that. You know, as I said, I don't think we was like outstanding. You know, I think the first half you could definitely say Arsenal edged it, but what I would say is, in terms of, you know, the result was what mattered to me. You know, I did say before the game, I wouldn't really care in this kind of game, you know, if it was a scrappy 1-0 win. The main thing for me was just literally picking up 3 points, you know, or if not 3 points, you know, 1 point at best, if anything, as a minimum, should I say. So the fact that we picked up all 3 points, you know, and there is things to improve on, then, yeah, man, we can be positive with that, you know. And as I said, man, it's refreshing, man, to see, you know, these players, you can definitely tell as well, are actually enjoying their football. You know, you can see they're fighting for one another as well. And you couldn't say that under Ruben Amorim. You know, I think, you know, there was a lot of disgruntlement amongst the squad. You know, I know people are going to start saying, you know, a lot of the older players liked Amorim. I mean, again, what do you expect them to come and say? They're not going to come out and say, you know, they couldn't stand Amorim. They're not going to say that because they have to be professional. So, as I said, all that noise around Amorim and, you know, people saying that that there's players out there that were unhappy that he went. If you're talking about Bruno Fernandes and Dallo, you know, probably a Maguire, then fair enough. But if you was to ask the majority of these players on a one-to-one basis by themselves, I guarantee you that these players wouldn't have. They would have been happy to see the back of Ruben Amorim, you know. And you can see just in both the games against City and Arsenal, again, I know they're big games, but you can see that these players are playing for one another, you know. And there's definitely a positive camaraderie amongst these players since the sacking of Ruben Amorim, you know. And as I said, man, great result yesterday. You know, next game is against Fulham at home. You know, do I think Carrick sets up in the same way as he did against Fulham? I don't believe he does. You know, I don't expect to see Mbuemo playing through the middle. You know, I think it might be. I think Cunha will start, and to be honest with you, Cunha has to start because of the impact that he's had in the last two games. I think if you're looking at the fact that Dorgu's got an injury as well, so there's definitely a position there for Cunha, and I think Cunha definitely starts that game. You know, but does he go with? So I think Xerxes still out injured, but I think Sesko will probably start that game as well, and then it'll probably be Ahmad or Mbuemo out on the right hand side against Fulham. So yeah, man, there's definitely things to be positive about, and yeah, man, let's hope we get the win against Fulham, man, and keep this run going because you know we're fourth now. You know, obviously it's I would go as far and say the fact that we've got one game a week, it's going to be down to us to lose these Champions League places now. You know, so I think you know Liverpool have got Champions League games. You know, they've got cup games as well, and we've literally just got one game a week. So there's no excuses really, and hopefully you know Michael Carrick can continue what he's doing. You know, I'll be very interested to see his setup though against Fulham. You know, because I don't believe he plays the same way. But yeah, anyway, guys, listen, let's get on to it anyway. You know, Patricke Evra Dorgu. Patricke Evra Dorgu. Now, this is a guy, guys. This is a guy that was bought for what? 25 mil, I think, rising to 30 mil. You know, I think when he was signed, a lot of fans turned up their nose at Patricke Dorgu. You know, I think people were saying we should have got Nuno Mendes, even though Nuno Mendes was never coming to Manchester United. Was never realistic to get Nuno Mendes. And when I'm looking at Ineos, the signings that these guys have made, let's face it. You know, you could hate Ineos all you want. You could hate Wilcox. You could hate Ratcliffe, Barada, all these guys. And again, I don't particularly think these guys have been perfect. Not by any means. You know, the Ruben Amorim sacking should have happened time ago. You know, amongst other things that these guys have probably done that people probably don't like. But what I would say, their signings, bar Manuel Ugarte, tell me a signing that really hasn't been at least above a 5 out of 10. You know, even Sesko, for instance. Sesko hasn't been great. But what I would say is that Sesko has got room for improvement. But the fact that obviously he came in and Højlund went, it's been an even better signing, you know. So, but Ugarte has been the only one I would say is a massive question mark as to what they actually saw in him. But when you're looking at Patricke Dorgu, and as Fitz has said, he's got Brazilian blood in him. Boy, I'm not sure about that, Fitz, man, but he definitely could argue that right now, man, because that strike yesterday was ridiculous. Big up to Babs One Diva as well. Big up each and every time. And what I would say is that you've got a player there that cost 25 million rising to 30, just turned 21 as well. And you can see the confidence is starting to flow through his game, you know, because he wouldn't have taken that shot on, you know, when he first come to the club. I think everyone could probably agree to that. He definitely wouldn't have taken on that shot. But what I would say is that, first and foremost, yeah, I'm looking at a guy now, and I've been saying this from the very get-go, you know, and I think there's not too many people that have probably spoken about this, you know, from what I've seen. But I've always said that I'm looking at Patricke Dorgu as our answer to Alphonso Davies. And the reason I say that, I'm not saying that Patricke Dorgu is the level of Alphonso Davies. And again, Alphonso Davies has been out injured lately anyway. But if you look at the physicality, the pace, and you look at where Alphonso Davies actually plays, left wing, left back, that's what we've got in Patricke Dorgu. That's what we have in Patricke Dorgu. Patricke Dorgu, for me, can be our Alphonso Davies. And I would love to see Patricke Dorgu play as a left back. So I think if you play Dorgu at left back, you know, I know there's people out there that thinking that they can't see him move to left back because of what he's done recently. For me, I think I think he can be adept at left back. And then if you want to use him in certain games as a left winger, you know, whether you want to go in a different route and you want to put crosses into the box, etc., or you just want pure pace and power on that side, then fair enough. But for me personally, I think he's the long-term left back. Because I'm looking at left backs right now that Man United could be in for. I don't really think there's too many. Because if you're not going to go and get a Nuno Mendes, a Alejandro Balde, you know, I would have loved Teo Hernandez, but again, he's in Saudi. I mean, is there any other left back out there that you guys would look at, which would mean that Dorgu stays as a left winger? Because I don't really particularly think there is. You know, I would love to see Dorgu, as I said, Dorgu as the long-term left back, and that's where he plays anyway. You know, and if you want to use him as an emergency winger, then fair enough. But I think definitely, man. Yeah, I think definitely we should be looking at the long-term future of Dorgu as a left back. You know, I personally wouldn't want to see him as a left winger personally, because I much prefer the inverted. You know, I much prefer seeing the left-footed players on the right-footed players on the left. That's what I prefer to see, because I think it opens up more avenues of attack. And if you've got someone with the physicality and the pace of a Patricke Dorgu at left back, and he's bombing around on the outside, you know, I think that's the way to go personally. But on the other hand, if you want to use Dorgu as a left winger at times, then I'm not against that either. But for me, I like to see him as a permanent left back next season, you know, and I think that's the way that we can kind of see that happening. Fitz says, I can see that Alphonso Davies comparison, but I'm blinded by his stunners right now, so I'm running with the Roberto Carlos shout. Yeah, big up, man. Big up, Fitz. I hear it, because that strike yesterday, you know, take nothing away from him. I think it was a strike. You know, that Patricke Dorgu wouldn't have taken on in his earlier on in his career. But the fact that he had the confidence, and again, his last couple of games to take that on, you know, speaks volumes. Everett Speak says he is not a left back. Yes, he is, Everett Speak. Don't know how much you've seen of Dorgu, but Dorgu is naturally a left back. You know, he's a natural left back, but obviously he can play as a left winger as well. And obviously you've seen he can play on the right-hand side. But again, if you look at the physicality and the pace that Dorgu has, you know, Dorgu is an Alphonso Davies type profile. You know, these guys have physicality and have the pace. But Dorgu can play left back and is a left back. Don't look at the fact that he came in under Amorim and Amorim was playing that wing back. He's actually a left back. But again, I wouldn't blame people that would say that he's a left winger because of what he's shown. But his long-term future for me is a left back. And as I said, he's the answer to me. He's our answer as an Alphonso Davies. He's our answer. Nord Saeed says, what happened to Tyrell Malacia? Yeah, Malacia's still at the club. Yeah, he's still there. And again, Malacia isn't as bad. Malacia isn't as bad as what people make out to be. And if you've got Malacia as a backup left back next season, I don't really think it's a problem. You know, because I do think Malacia can come in and do a job. You know, if you've got Dorgu as the first choice left back, or if you go and get another left back in the summer, fair enough. But I don't think Malacia is as bad as what people make it out to be. But yeah, he's still there. But again, I think next season we're gonna see what happens with players like Malacia, because I don't really know if Carrick rates him or not, if he's gonna be here. But who knows? You know, you might get a new manager that comes in and they might see something in him and think, you know, he's worth persevering with. I don't know, but I don't think he's as bad as what people make him out to be. I think he's an easy scapegoat for the fans, just like a lot of players that we know anyway. You know, let's not forget it's not his first outrageous goal neither. Yeah, 100%, Fitz. But as I said, man, he wouldn't have taken that shot on before, man. Early on in his Man United career, you know, you can see the confidence is oozing in him. You know, and again, man, it's good to see because there was a lot of fans getting onto his back. You know, not rating Patricke Dorgu, and I think it's safe to say, you know, if you just persevere with a player like that, you know, you can see him. You can see him going from strength to strength, and as I said, man, yeah, I'm happy with Dorgu, man. I think Dorgu's definitely improving. And the thing is, what I didn't like about what happened with Dorgu when he came in, yeah, and this is on Ruben Amorim, because Patricke Dorgu literally was brought in because he's got pace and power, yeah, and he was in a way being used and abused in a sense in the system of the 3-4-2-1 to just be a runner. So the likes of like a Bruno Fernandes would love a Patricke Dorgu because Dorgu's a willing runner. But the problem in that system, that 3-4-2-1, is that using a player like Dorgu like that, yeah, like he would have suffered burnout very quick because the amount of running that this guy was doing, you know, wasn't, you know, it wasn't feasible really, you know, and that's what I didn't like. I didn't like the way that they were using Dorgu. You know, you could see Dorgu in the end was shattered, you know, because he was just making them lung bursting runs time after time in that system, you know, and that's why I can't see. That's why I can't stand seeing the wing back system, really, you know. And again, the fact that he's playing left midfield at the moment or left wing at the moment, you know, is good for his confidence. But as I said, long term, you know, his future has to be as left back. And again, identifying, you know, the way that we see left backs now. I mean, look at someone like Ian Matson. He's a prime example. Ian Matson was a central midfield player or left midfield player. He's now a left back. So again, you're getting a lot of these players that are, I wouldn't say failed wingers. You know, the way the game's going, you're getting players that more or less started off as wingers playing at left back because of the pace and power that these guys can provide from left back as an overlapping player. So yeah, that is, I said, this is where I hope to see him be in the future, you know. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. Make sure we're subbing to the channel. If you're new in here, make sure you're sharing the channel as well. So I politely disagree. Yeah, listen, man, you can disagree. That's, again, it's your opinion. If you don't think Dorgu's a left back, then again, that's your opinion. But I'm telling you, he is a left back. He was a left back by trade. He is. And as I said, because he's been playing more as a winger, I wouldn't disagree if people don't think he's a left back. But his long-term future, you know, and where I think he will excel is as a left back. But if people think that he should be playing left midfield, then or left wing, fair enough. But for me personally, I would like to see, you know, inverted really, because I think that's the best way to go. You know, if you look at the way that Barcelona play, you know, they've got. I know it's different with Koundé because Koundé is actually a naturally centre back, but he plays at right back. But if you look on the left hand side, they've got an Alejandro Balde that bombs forward on the outside, and obviously if it's not Rafinha playing out, then it's Rashford. They have inverted, you know, coming infield, while the likes of the left back, you know, are occupying the flank really. And again, it just gives you more opportunity to attack really, whether you want to go down the outside or come inside to link the play with the striker or go for shots. You know what I mean? And if you got someone with the physicality and pace like a Dorgu, you know, I think he can be utilised like that better as a left back. So let's see. Where's all the Arsenal fans though? I'm waiting. Yeah, but Fitz, listen, man, this is what these guys do. Clockenders, Lumi, Waka, Mamba, cricket fan, I know you're here. Listen, don't worry, man, because we got a stream at 5:30, and it's gonna be a good one because these guys you just mentioned, do not think that I've forgotten. I have not forgotten. So yeah, if you guys are free, man, make sure you come through at 5:30 with Fitz and Jonas, and we're gonna go to some Arsenal cooking because listen, these guys have been chatting. So let's just hope they show up and answer for their sins, man, because some of the bollocks that these guys have been talking, you know, they need to be held accountable. And let's hope that these guys show up, man. Let's hope. Because you know what? You know, it's actually funny. I actually forgot about Waka and Cricket Fan. But yeah, don't worry, man. You're on the list as well. Big up. You can't say Bruno hasn't been good in the last 2 games, right? What I would say, yeah, is that, again, you guys can rate Bruno. You know, it's your opinion again, yeah. But I'm someone that doesn't rate Bruno highly for many reasons, yeah. But it's not about Bruno slander, and it's not about has Bruno not been good. If you look at the team as a whole, they've played more as a team, you know. So there isn't one individual, you know. I would say even Dallo wasn't great in the first 25 minutes against Man City, but then he grew into the game. Again, he should have been sent off, but he grew into the game. And yesterday against Arsenal, you know, I couldn't really fault him, really. But what I would say is that Bruno has been a lot better in terms of his use of the ball. Definitely against Man City, his use of the ball was a lot better. You know, defensively, he was getting into positions to try and stop counters, and he was defensively disciplined, I would say. Against Arsenal, you know, he was still reverting to the long balls. You know, he wasn't great against Arsenal. He was losing the ball a lot, getting pressed by Declan Rice as well. But again, it's not about criticizing Bruno. You know, the thing with Bruno Fernandes is that for the sake of Manchester United moving forward as a club, you know, and going in a different direction, he has to go at the end of the season. You know, he should have gone this season, but he's still here, and he's gonna be here till the end of the season. So this is a decision for Ineos to make in what they do with Bruno Fernandes, because for me, if you want the likes of Kobe Mino to thrive, of Matthias Cunha to thrive, guys that can play in the 10, it needs to be without Bruno Fernandes. So it's not about saying that Bruno has been good. I think he's had 2 decent performances. I'm not going to go overboard and start saying that Bruno was man of the match, because he wasn't. And I think this is what people do. I think because it's Bruno Fernandes, and the majority of people out there just suck Bruno off because it's fashionable to go and do that. Like, everyone has the same opinion, really. But you're not going to get that on his channel. You know, we have our own opinions. I have my opinion. And the facts are, yes, Bruno has been decent the last couple of games, but that's what you should expect of someone that is on 300 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think all this over the top about Bruno, yeah, I'm not here for that. So, is what it is, man. Any news on Dorgu's injury? No, I haven't seen no news on Dorgu's injury. I'm hoping he's not out for too long, you know. But again, if he is out, then it's going to give opportunity to other players to come in. And again, because he's been playing left wing, you know, it means Cunha just comes into the team. You know, I think obviously Xerxes out injured, so you might get Sesko coming into the team as well. Who knows? But yeah, I've not heard anything on Dorgu's injury. Hopefully, I mean, when it's a hamstring, you're always nervous, really, because hamstring injuries are never something that you want to kind of see for any player, really. So I'm hoping he's not out for too long, but who knows, man? Who knows? But he's been very good the last couple of games, and you know, 2 goals in the last 2 games for Patricke Dorgu. You know, is he more Patricke Evra, or is he more Alphonso Davies? You know, let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, because as I said in the title, in the thumbnail, you know, Patricke Evra Dorgu, you know, left back, and then obviously you got Alphonso Davies, who's a bit of a both of left midfield and left back. So that's where I'm kind of looking at Dorgu's future, man. I think it's definitely as a left back, you know, but you know, if there's opportunity for him to play left midfield as well, left wing as well, then fair enough, man. We have to kind of see what happens, you know. But I definitely do think. Imagine if we got a if Carrick doesn't stay on, yeah. If we got a Luis Enrique or a Xavi, let's say for argument's sake, or a De Zerbi, I guarantee you that they will play Dorgu at left back. Guarantee you. So I think if you look at Luis Enrique, yeah, he would look at Dorgu as a Nuno Mendes type player, and Xavi would look at Dorgu as a Alejandro Balde. So yeah, man, I think that's definitely one to look out for. They better turn up and take all this smoke I got for them today. They have to face the music. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. Listen, we hope so, but these guys, I think the only one I can really rate, obviously big up Lumi Rain each and every time, because she's deluded, but she did stay on for a little bit, but then it was too much for her. Big up Lumi each and every time. But what I would say, and again, Clockenders actually went to the game, and even though he showed his face, but I can tell he was hurt, and he went off, but it is what it is. But the rest of them, Waka, Mamba, named after a snake, Pakistan cricket team. Who's the other one? Jimmy Barry. These guys don't show up. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is why. Verbic, another one. Big up. Yeah, Verbic, another one. This is why these guys won't win a league title. Because that behavior there, it catches up to you in the end. I'm telling you. Because you can't be coming on there, chatting, saying all this stuff. And then when your team score, you're all in the chat. Then when we score, when we win, you guys are nowhere to be seen. And it's the gods upstairs, man, that are telling this Premier League season that it's not going to be Arsenal's. I promise you. Big up to Foxy Danny. Big up. How is Xerxes injured? He didn't even play much. Not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. I don't know if he picked up an injury in training. I'm not too sure. But there's been links, obviously, to Juventus. I think Juventus has stalled on trying to sign A Nasseri. So now they're looking at Xerxes. And again, I want Xerxes to stay, man. And I think Carrick will like Xerxes. I've got a feeling Carrick will like Xerxes because of the way Carrick likes to play the game. But again, he's out injured, so it's one of them things where we got to just see how he overcomes his injury and then see what's in store. Because, you wouldn't actually blame him if he wants to go out and loan and get game time. So, but because obviously the World Cup's around the corner. But I think it depends what the conversation he has with Carrick. Because if Carrick says, look, I'm going to use you, then that'll give Xerxes a decision to make. But for me, I'm not sure at the moment, but I'd love him to stay. But when you've got one game a week, it's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to see what he's going to do, But yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But yeah, as I say, guys, Patricke Dorgu, man. Yeah, man, it's good to see him now, man, that he's definitely starting to get the recognition and the plaudits that he deserves, because it's been a long time coming. As I said, he was an easy scapegoat when he first came in, for reasons that we are all aware of if we're switched on. But it's good to see now that he's being given praise, man, and rightfully so, because that goal yesterday, that strike was a very, very good strike. Obviously momentum helped him as well, but I think in terms of the first half, he wasn't great. There was people getting onto him in the first half as well, but I don't think it was more to do with Dorgu's performance. For me, it was more to do with United as a team in that first half were under pressure. Arsenal were the better team in the first half, and the attacking players couldn't get into it really. And when you've got a Brian Mbeumo that's playing as the central striker, his game ain't to link the play and hold it and get the midfielders or the attack into the game. So it was difficult in that sense for Dorgu. But again, second half, he come on strong. And again, that finish was a great finish. It was a great finish, man. So you can't even take it away, man. Can't even take it away from him, and let's just hope the injury ain't too bad. Will Arsenal still win the league? Bro, they were never winning the league. I've been consistent from the start. And again, we're not going to get onto Arsenal because we're going to save that for 5:30. So yeah, make sure you guys are on at 5:30 because we've got a whole lot of list. We've got a whole list to go through with these fans, you know. So yeah, make sure you guys are on at 5:30. But for me, I've never had Arsenal down as winning the league. Man City, I said. And the fact that it's down to 4 points and Arsenal's next game is away to Leeds. Don't sleep on Leeds, I'm telling you, because Leeds are one of them teams this season, yeah, that they can upset teams with the way they play. You know, very energetic, physical, you know, and it's not gonna take a lot for them, you know, to be up for a game like this as well at home. Because their fans are on it, man, when it comes to their home games. And as I said, man, I think if Arsenal go to Leeds and literally, if they beat Leeds, it'd be good for the confidence in the sense of, you know, they've gone to a team that is difficult to be at home after losing and picked up 3 points. So yeah, but I'm going for the best for Arsenal is a draw. Did I just see what I just see there? Sorry guys, I just see Gabriel Magalhaes. Okay, I don't know if anyone's picked up on that, yeah? Gabriel Magalhaes, guys, after the game against United. Yeah, after the game against Man United, Gabriel Magalhaes saying piss poor. So you got him and Declan Rice, man. They're losing their mind now at what's going on. So yeah, boy, it's mad. Big up to United fan. Big up. Says 5-0 win yesterday for me as well. Come on, made some great saves. Yeah, man, well done. Well done. Listen, great day all around, man. Great day all around. United win against Arsenal. You getting a 5-0 victory. Me enjoying my weekend. It's been a long time coming, man. So big up to yourself, man. Big up. But guys, yeah, let me know what you think. Is Patricke Evra more like Patricke Evra? Is Patricke Dorgu more like Patricke Evra or more like an Alphonso Davies? And where would you like to see Dorgu play for the majority of his time as a Manchester United player? Because as I said, man, I want to see him at left back personally. You know. Dorgu is like Mendes. I don't think he's like personally. I don't think he's like Nuno Mendes. I don't think he's like Nuno Mendes. I think in terms of technical ability, Nuno Mendes for me is a highly technical left back. You know, so I think he's got that over Dorgu. Even though Dorgu technically is good, but I think Nuno Mendes is a level above that. This is why I'm saying I think he's just like Alphonso Davies with the pace and the power. So, but yeah, no, I can see the Mendes, obviously left back, but yeah, I'm going to say Alphonso Davies for me. Gav, I was one Ahmad shot away from making a nice little 80 snaps yesterday. Took the cherry off my cake that day. Yeah, big up, man, big up. Listen, Ahmad was, I mean, I think people think Ahmad didn't really play well yesterday, but again, just like Dorgu, yeah, it wasn't really a game for the attackers because United couldn't really get on the ball. So someone like Ahmad, you know, this is why I want to see Ahmad next season play central. I want to see him playing as a number 10 because when you've got a player with the level of ability of Ahmad and the high technical floor of Ahmad needs to be more involved in the game. You know, and I'd love to see him in the number 10. And again, you know, he's very tenacious, Ahmad. So if people think that he can't play as a 10, well, he's got the tenacity to play in there, and he's a natural number 10 anyway. And he's creative. You know, he can dribble with the ball. I think he's got all the attributes to play as a 10. And again, I think his game yesterday was more about defending, tracking back. You know, and again, the fact that he's played wing back under Amorim, it wasn't unfamiliar for him to be tracking back like that. You know, so that's probably the only positive that you can take away from the likes of Amorim being in charge. That as in a funny way, him playing Ahmad at wing back has actually helped his defensive attributes in that game. But when you've got someone like Ahmad with that level of ability, he needs to be playing in a central position. In a central position. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen, man. So yeah, I want to see him play more central next season, man. Because when you've got Mbeumo and you've got Ahmad, you know, if you want to fit both of them into the team, you know, then just play Mbeumo outright. And again, Mbeumo for me, let's actually go through the players themselves. Yeah. Let's start off with Lemens in goal. You know, again, Lemens for me, you know, he's been a very good signing. Again, he was bought for peanuts. You know what I mean? And I think the one thing about Lemens, I think everyone would agree with, is his calming influence. How calm he is, just whenever he does anything, whether it's catching the ball from across, his distribution, his saves, he just provides a calming influence. You know, and as someone that is as young as he is, you know, it's good to see. And although he didn't have really too much to do, you know, people might say that he should have done better from the second goal from Arsenal. You know, but again, I think with experience, you know, he probably does better on that. But in terms of, you know, his calming influence, which I think is the massive main thing for him, you know, I thought he was good. You know, as I said, the fullbacks, I think Luke Shaw, to be honest with you, as soon as I knew Saka was playing, which he was going to play anyway, I knew Luke Shaw would do a job on Saka. And that's because Saka's one of them players that Saka's not going to beat you with skill. Saka's just a physical player that likes to keep the ball, which is why when I'm saying to you guys, to me, he's the Ghanaian Ricardo Gardner. Like I'm saying that to you for a reason. Yeah. He's the Ghanaian Ricardo Gardner. Both left-footed. Difference is he's just a bit more physical than Ricardo Gardner. But Luke Shaw can match him for pace and for power as well. Because Luke Shaw's quite a solid guy as well in terms of how he likes to defend and his stature as well. So as soon as Luke Shaw was playing at left back, which we knew anyway, I knew Saka wouldn't really have too much joy. And again, Saka was quiet, non-existent. And when I'm hearing certain people say certain things about Saka, which we'll get onto at 5:30, it lets you know, man, that these guys got it all wrong, you know? So, yeah, I thought Luke Shaw was decent. I thought he was very good. Dalot again, you know, Trossard, I mean, I didn't even know Trossard was playing. Didn't even know that Rickayo Sagna. I didn't even know Trossard was playing. And then he got hauled off. And then Saka went on the left, done nothing. So, yeah, Dalot, as I said, hasn't been great this season. But he can be very positive with his performance yesterday. I thought Maguire, again, you know, I mean, these kind of games and the way we're set up, you know, Maguire is obviously going to be loving life because when you got a compact midfield that protects that defence, you're going to get a better Lisandro Martinez and a Harry Maguire because these guys like to defend. And any balls that come into the air, you know, into their area, especially Harry Maguire, he's going to love that. But the thing with Man United, we can't be playing like that for the foreseeable, for me. So yeah, as I said, man, I think someone like Harry Maguire would have loved yesterday. And I think the last couple of games, man, he's been literally faultless. You know, it wasn't a penalty yesterday on him either. I think that's just people clutching at straws. But as I said, yeah, he's been very good, Harry Maguire. But again, when the Ligt comes back, you know, Lenny Yoro needs to be getting game time along with Heaven as well. I want to see what Carrick does because there's no part of me that's going to see the Ligt on the bench for a long period of time. That can't happen. But Maguire was very good. Lisandro, I mean, again, Lisandro is a liability in a sense because what he was doing with that goal, the first goal, I have no idea why he done that, you know. Just focus on looking at the ball rather than the man because the ball's more important than where the man is, really. You know, if you go and attack the ball, that goal doesn't happen. But he spent the majority of his time just trying to hug Yuri and Timber. Didn't make any sense. But other than that, he was pretty solid, and again, another decent display from Lissandro, man. So I thought the whole back five, including Lamens, was very good. Casemiro, I mean, the fact that Casemiro's leaving, man, is annoying because Casemiro is a top player, man, and has been a top player. I think people that don't rate Casemiro, it's just I feel that's just come from other fans just that who have an agenda, because you can't look at Casemiro and not rate him. We heard people say that Casemiro hasn't got any legs. The biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard. Look at his career and look at how he's been playing in his career, and then you'll realize that this whole he hasn't got any legs talk is absolute nonsense. You know what I mean? So yeah, what I would say, man, is the fact that he's leaving Casemiro is annoying, but listen, we have to just make do with him to the end of the season and then just go and get an adequate replacement for him, man, because what a performance, man. Again, arguably another man-the-match display from Casemiro. And that is what you call world-class, not the other frauds on the other side of the team. Because too much time I'm hearing Declan Rice's name. I'm hearing Zubamendi's name. But yet we don't hear about Casemiro. And Casemiro is a 5 times Champions League winning midfielder. Hugely experienced, And we listen to people say he's run out of legs. Nonsense. And again, what a display. Kobbie Mainoo, again, Kobbie wasn't as good as he was against Man City. But again, Kobbie Mainoo is just he's a supreme footballer, He's just got touches of brilliance in his game. And the composure that he shows for someone that young, cannot be underestimated. And what I would say about Kobbie Mainoo is that a player that was criminally underused by Ruben Amorim, is testament to see that the guy hasn't really played too many games, so his energy levels won't really be there. And this guy's playing 90 minutes after 90 minutes, So, listen, he's the future of the team. He definitely is. Definitely in that midfield. So, the fact that there was talk about him potentially leaving, I knew it was never going to happen anyway, because the club wouldn't have been that dumb to get rid of Kobbie Mainoo and keep Ruben Amorim. So the fact that Amorim's now gone and Kobbie's thriving under Carrick, I know it's been 2 games, but I've seen a lot already, and he can get even better. Listen, the sky's the limit for Kobbie, man, and obviously he should be getting another contract as well, man. So it's good. It's good news. And I think, as I said, I don't think he was great yesterday, but another solid, good performance, and he can build on that, And that midfield pairing of him and Casemiro is working well, man. It's definitely working well. Guys, keep your questions and comments coming through. I will definitely get back to your comments and questions once I finish going through the whole team. So yeah, keep them coming through. Moving on to, as I said, Bruno Fernandes. I don't think Bruno was good yesterday. I think against Man City he was a lot better. But yesterday, he was giving the ball away. He was getting pressed as well. And that's the thing with Bruno Fernandes. When he gets pressed, because he's not physically that strong, or he hasn't got the quick feet, or he's good in tight situations, these things happen, But when Bruno's facing the goal, he's a lot better, But with his back to goal in tight spaces, he hasn't got that ability to kind of get himself out of situations like that, And again, I don't think he was great yesterday, but it's not about Bruno Fernandes. It's about the team, and he played his part in the team. Getting that result yesterday against Arsenal. Again, Bruno's still throwing his hands up in the air, trying to tell people what to do. That needs to be cut out of the game, because people might say that's a way of him expressing himself. I don't agree. You know what I mean? And if he does that, if he thinks that's a way of expressing himself, then, as I said, man, it makes it seem it's all about him. But as I said, man, he played his part as part of the team winning the game, man, and that's what needs to be looked at. Ahmad, again, we've spoken about. Dorgu, we've spoken about already. And then Brian Mbeumo. Again, Mbeumo wasn't great, But the one thing about Brian Mbeumo is that the guy can score goals. You know, I can't stand seeing Mbeumo play as the central striker, really. You know, that ain't his game. But I did say, you know, Carrick, for me, is using Mbeumo as a forward, as a striker, in these kind of games where United are going to be playing more on the counter-attack. And look at that. It's yielded 2 goals for Mbeumo and 2 wins. So you can't actually fault Carrick for what he's done there. You know, it's been good. And as I said, I think with Manchester United playing against Fulham, I don't expect to see Mbeumo play through the middle. You know, I think Sesko will play there, or maybe Acuna, who knows. But as I said, man, not a great performance from Mbeumo, but he got the all-important equaliser, you know, with an ice-cold finish, man. So, yeah, man, Mbeumo just proves that he scores goals. And bringing in someone like that scores goals into the club, listen, man, you can't argue. You can't argue. And then the subs that came on, who came on again? So, Sesko came on again. His goal for the final goal, you know, good little control there as well. Good little chest down. Again, there's still a lot of room for improvement for Sesko, but as I said to you before, you know, I'm not gonna change my opinion. You know, Xerxes for me, when he's back fit, needs to be the main number 9. And then, you know, if you've got him and Sesko that can dovetail between each other, then fair enough. But I don't really want to see Mbeumo play through the middle again, you know, because that was only done for me because of who we were playing against, you know. But I expect to the end of the season, Man United to play with a proper striker up there, whether it's Xerxes or Sesko. But again, I don't think he done too much. But his play in the final goal, you know, was good. You know, kept the ball, and that's the main thing. And then Matthias Blood Clark Cunha. Listen, Matthias Cunha. You know, you had fans out there saying, yeah, that this guy's been a waste of money. You know, this guy should have stayed at Wolves. You know, this guy isn't as good as we thought he was. Yeah. And I think yesterday, all that was put to bed. Because I'm looking at the players on that pitch yesterday, yeah. He was the only one that could have scored that type of goal. Because when we call him a maverick, yeah, Mavericks score them type of goals where they take the game by the scruff of the neck and win it for the team. And that is literally what he done, you know. And his impact off the bench in the last 2 games, you know, that's a sign of a player that has bought into what Carrick's doing. Because as the big money signing in the summer, you know, he would have been expected to be playing and starting games against City and Arsenal. And it's testament to whatever Carrick has said to him in the change room, you know, that he'll get his chance. And there's no surprise in that Cunha's come off the bench and he's had literally an assist for Dorgu's goal. Should have had the assist for Mason Mount's goal. And he's come on and scored the winner against Arsenal. And what a goal it was. And as I said, man, we've got players of real quality. You know, big up to Owen yesterday as well. Owen, you know, is adamant that this squad isn't good enough. You know, I'm not quite sure where he's getting that from, but I've always said, and I'm going to remain consistent, do not look at this team under Ruben Amorim, because what Amorim had going on at this club was an absolute scandal to football. You know, he had us making fans think that, you know, some of these players were shit. You know, even players that I don't rate, i.e. Bruno Fernandes. You know, you can get more out of these players. And the fact that we've gone to the 4-2-3-1 and gone away from the 3-4-2-1, you know, and we're getting more out of these players, not to mention you got players coming off the bench that can make an impact like that. It just shows you how good our squad is. And as I keep saying, this squad is a top 6 minimum squad. You know, with the way things are going now, with the 1 game a week and the squad we have, it would be criminal not to get top 4. Top 4 is a must. And I believe we get it this season. I do believe it, because if you look at the teams that are chasing us for that, Chelsea, Liverpool, I think we're betting them. We're betting them. You know, and look at our attack. You know, the fact that we've gone to the 4-2-3-1, it makes you see now that we have actually got a lot of players in reserve that we can come on and change games. You know, but in the 3-4-2-1, you didn't really see that. So, again, man, people that don't think we've got a good squad, I highly disagree. I'll tell you now, and I said this yesterday as well, you know, and I'll go on record and say this. Anyone that wants to clip it, whatever, I don't care, yeah? If we go and get the midfielders that we need for next season and we remove the players that we need to, so again, if we go and get Baleba and we get either a Walton or an Anderson, you know, and we've got a midfield of Baleba, Cobby, Walton or Anderson, you know, you want to fast track one of the youth players as well. I guarantee you this, with the team that we have already, we are competing for the title next season. I remember saying this, yeah, about 6 months ago. I was literally having a conversation with someone who's an Arsenal fan. And I said to them, yeah, we can compete for the league title, for me, Manchester United, in 2 seasons. He laughed at me. He was saying, no way. I'm telling you this now, yeah, we can compete for this title next season if we get the midfield right. I'm certain of that. Because I'm looking at this league season right now, and the only reason Arsenal are top is because they've been the most consistent team. That is it. But if you're gonna tell me that Arsenal are that good, I disagree. Because this is a team that is 17th in the league for open play goals. But we're meant to believe that they're one of the best teams in the league. We've been suffering under Ruben Amorim with the way he's been playing with this team. And, you know, if he wasn't in charge, could you imagine if we had Carrick here at the start of the season? Where would Man United actually be? And again, it's not a new manager bounce. It's not to get carried away after 2 games. You can clearly see against the Man City game what was going on. And that was a team that I wasn't really for in terms of the players that were playing. But it's testament to see how Carrick set up the team. And you can see how good the team performed. So for me, as I said, we get the midfield right and we get rid of some of the players. Some of the players being the Bruno Fernandes, the Diogo Dallos, the Manuel Ugartes, the Luke Shaws, the Mason Mounts. If we get rid of them players and we bring in the Balebas, the Waltons, the Andersons, and we buy back up to some of the starters that I think should be starting, I'm telling you this now, a title charge ain't too far away. I'm telling you. You know, people can disagree with it all they want, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if we mount a title charge next season. A lot of it's going to be dependent on the midfielders that we bring in, and a lot of it's going to be dependent on who's going to be in charge. As I said already, for what Carrick's done this season, what Carrick's done so far, if he carries it on to the end of the season, we play good football to the end of the season, we get Champions League football. For me, it'll be very difficult to go and look for someone else but Carrick. That's the truth. But if we get to the end of the season, we scrape into the top 4 in Champions League football, the football wasn't that great, it dropped off, then cool. Go and get a manager that can take us on, like a De Zerbi, like a Enrique, a Xavi, maybe a Zidane, who knows. But if Carrick continues what he's doing, how are you going to tell Carrick that he can't be the manager of Man United? And again, I think it's important to not put Ollie and Carrick in the same boat. Carrick's a coach, Ollie wasn't. So, yeah, it's important to kind of separate the two, you know? And that's where I'm at with it, really. And it's good to be talking like this because the amount of times I've been coming on there, just dejected, disinterested with this team, I'm actually, for the first time in a while, I'm upbeat about what's going on. And that's because we've had a coach that's come in since Louis van Gaal that is actually wants to improve these players and play in a way that we can be happy with. It's that simple, man. So, but guys, make sure you're smashing the likes. Going to get onto some of your comments and questions now. Smash the likes, sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel as well. Let's see. 5-0. Oh, sorry, I've been that one already. Lamens has saved us on many occasions now. Bro's calm as fuck. Yeah, listen. Yeah, Lamens has been very good, man. Been very good. I've been very impressed with Lamens. Again, he has made a couple of mistakes, but it's his calming influence that is the major standout. And as I said, if he can continue that, and gets a defense in front of him that is consistent, there's no problems with Lamens. There literally isn't no problems with him, and he's been very good. It's a shame. Big up to Xedra. It's a shame Cass is going. Yeah, listen, it's a massive shame. Again, I think it was to be expected. I think there was some hope from me to say that he could stay, but I think yeah, I think I'm not sure what is going to happen. Is he going to go back to Brazil? Is he going to go to Saudi? I don't know, man. But I would definitely have kept Casemiro, man, if it meant you could negotiate another contract with him. Because I think someone like Casemiro and his experience, imagine what he would have given to this team, man, in his next season. A team that's on the up. So it's annoying, but it is what it is. Casemiro was insane. They dared to put Zubimendi over Casemiro in a combined 11. But again, the people that do that, yeah, is because it's recency bias and it's just nonsense. And it's probably a majority of Arsenal fans. Because if you've got any brains, anything between your ears, yeah, you wouldn't make that mistake. Why would you put Zubimendi over Casemiro? Based off of what? You know what I mean? And the guys, if you guys saw my combined 11 yesterday, make sure you give it a check. So when everyone's fit, my combined 11 was, I would love to put Lamens in there, but I think David Raya has been decent over the last couple of seasons. So I think it was only fair to put David Raya in there. And this is based on everyone being fit, and it's based on, how good I think these guys can be. So I had Raya in goal. I had Timber right back. I had Dorgu left back. The centre-backs was Matthias de Ligt and Gabriel Magalhaes. Midfield pairing of Declan Rice and Casemiro. Kobbie Mainoo in the 10. Ahmad on the right. Cunha on the left. Joshua Zirkzee as the striker. That's the team I had, and I said, for me, that is a strong team, So for people to put Zubimendi ahead of Casemiro, yeah, just take that with a pinch of salt, man. Who do you think we should buy in the summer to become a certified top 4 club? Again, it's the midfield. It's the midfield. We have to go and improve the midfield, but everyone knows that anyway. So, as I said, Baleba is a must for me. He has to be signed. And then I'll be happy with Wharton or Anderson to go with him. But I just got a feeling that Wharton or Anderson will end up at either City or Liverpool. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But it's the midfield. Because I don't think people deep that this team ain't as bad as what people make it out to be. If we get a proper coach, as I said, if it's going to be Carrick or someone else that comes in, you'll quickly see that this team, have got some weapons in their team, man. So you think of us buying Cunha and Mbeumo in the summer, 2 of the top goal scorers from last season. We've now got them in our team. We've got, for me, one of the best players in the league, if he's played in his right position, in Amad Diallo. We've got a highly technical striker that needs to be utilised in the right way in Joshua Zirkzee. Sesko, has potential as well. We've got Kobbie Mainoo, who for me, can become the future of this club, future England international as well, and he has got caps for them already. And if you play him in a system where he can just thrive and get on the ball, we've got potentially one of the best midfielders in the country, even though I think he's that at the moment anyway. Patricke Dorgu's going from strength to strength. You can see what he's doing now. I think apart from Reece James, and on par with Timber for me, we've got one of the best right backs in the league in Mazraoui. We've got experience if you keep Harry Maguire. Matthias de Ligt's one of the best defenders in Europe for me. We've got one of the best young centre-backs in Europe in Lenny Yoro. Aiden Heaven was bought for peanuts. You know, he's got potential. And they're the guys, for me, that should be kept. And if we're looking around players that are going to... Lamens, again, we've mentioned already. If we're looking at, you know, players that might stay or might move on, these guys are experienced players. And if they stay as part of the squad, all of a sudden, the team ain't looking too bad, man, as I said. And for me, it's the midfield, though. We have to sort the midfield out. Because if you sort the midfield out, I think that's what's going to make everything else look fine around it for me. So, but let's see, man. Let's see. Yeah, Mbeumo wasn't great yesterday, but he got the goal, man, and that's what people are going to talk about. So, what I don't... Big up to Foxy Danny says, what I don't understand is why didn't Amorim change the formation? Carrick comes on board and Man United are alive, showing results. But again, the thing with Amorim, yeah, again, this can be looked at in a positive or a negative situation, because him coming in with the 3-4-2-1, yeah, if you do change your formation, like, you're going to lose credibility, because the players are going to be like, this man just not true to his word. The fans will be doing the same thing, and so will the media. So in a sense, I didn't rate the 3-4-2-1, but I could see why he didn't want to change it, and I could respect it, even though I didn't like it. The very fact that Ineos more or less told him to change the formation was the beginning of the end for Amorim, because, you know, we're not playing well. You know, people are going to start saying didn't have his own players, which is a load of rubbish. You know, the players that were brought in are all virtually new players. And if you're looking at the fact that we just wasn't performing well, you know, they obviously told him things have got to change. You know, the fact that he didn't want to change and was being micromanaged was the beginning of the end for him. And obviously he spoke out, and then obviously they pulled the trigger. So it is what it is. But the very fact that he wasn't at least a bit adaptable was his undoing. Because I don't care what anyone says. If you have a certain way of playing, you know, but it's not working, you know, the players are more important than you, the manager or the coach. Because your job is to come in and coach these players into a system to get them better. But if you're coming in stubborn, saying you're not changing anything, and it's all about you having your own players or this and that, then you're a fool, really. That's what I would say. You know, and fans that were doing the most for Amorim, saying didn't have his players, this and that, you know, these guys should actually go with him, in my opinion, because I've never heard such rubbish in my life. You know, his first job is as a coach is to improve players, and he wasn't doing that. And then had the cheek to come out and say, you know, he's a manager, not a head coach, which, as I said, he was trying to play clever. Because all the models right now in the top teams, they don't use the word manager. It's head coach. The manager kind of role was for the Sir Alex Fergusons, the Arsene Wengers, the Jose Mourinhos. The way football is now, the majority of teams are using head coaches. And the coach's job is to coach the players you have at your disposal, which he wasn't doing. And this is why I kept calling Amorim a manager, not a coach. Because quite clearly, he wasn't coaching these players. And when he come out of that rubbish, listen, he weren't fooling anyone. That's the truth. Amorim out, Cobby stays, beat City, beat Arsenal. Who knew Jan 2026 would be so sweet? Lottery tickets all round, guys. You never know. Yeah, big up, my guy. Big up. Listen, my birthday as well in that month. It just all came together. Look at that, man. Look at that. My birthday in that month, and we beat Arsenal. Amorim's gone. Yeah, listen, man. It's been a great month. I can't lie, man. It's been a very good month. So let's hope it continues. His subs were consistently poor in game, understanding, poor. I can't believe he survived so long. Yeah, listen. It was an absolute joke, man, Ruben Amorim. Absolute joke. But the thing is, he's gone now, and there's no point dwelling on Ruben Amorim. You know, there's no point dwelling. It took Ineos long enough, and the fact that they pulled the trigger, listen, it needed to be done, man. I couldn't give a damn what anyone says. That's the truth, man. It needed to be done. So that's what we have to kind of be positive with, you know. So yeah, man, it is what it is. But guys, listen up. We're gonna wrap it up anyway. I'm gonna be back at 5:30. Keep an eye out, guys. I got the greats of the game. I got a couple coming out today, and obviously there's a few that I'm gonna be working on today as well. So yeah, keep an eye on for that. So greats of the game is just obviously past players. You know, there's a list that I'm working through. Again, if you guys got any other players that you want me to speak on, then just put it in the comments. But yeah, keep an eye out. There'll be a few coming in today anyway. So yeah, as I said, man, it's been a positive week, man. Positive weekend. I can't lie. Cannot lie, man. It's been a positive weekend. And as I said, big up to everyone that come through yesterday in the live watch along. Big up for your support. As we know, you know, Arsenal fans, these guys just don't like to stay and face the music, man, unfortunately. But let's hope they show up tonight, and let's hope they man up or woman up, let's say. You know what I mean? Because these guys were getting way too excited, man. You know, when Arsenal scored. And listen, man, you can't be jumping the gun. That's what I will say. You cannot be doing that. Reach out to an Arsenal fan near you. Yeah, listen, big up to Zedra. But guys, listen, back at 5:30. And I'll tell you this now. It's one not to be missed. Because, listen, we're in the mood tonight, man. And there's a few things that I want to go through. Because these Arsenal fans have to answer for their crimes. And 5:30, let's see if they show up. And let's see what they do, because I've got a lot to say, put it that way, you know, because some of the rubbish these guys have been saying, let's see if they're there let's see if they're there anyway. But guys, yeah, make sure you smash the like button as always. Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel and check out all the other content as well. And yeah, we'll be back as normal at 5:30. And yeah, make sure you guys come through and support the channel. And as I said, keep an eye out for the greats of the game. Some will be coming out today. And yeah, as always, make sure you guys let me know in the comments what you think. And enjoy your week, guys, because we've suffered for a long while. We've suffered for a long while. And I'm not gonna say the good times are back, you know, but it's been a positive couple of games, man, and that's all we can look forward to. And Verbeek right on cue. We're still 4 points clear. And this is why it's going to be even sweeter, guys, when they don't win anything. So it is what it is. But yeah, big up to all the mods each and every time. Guys, 5:30. Catch you guys back at 5:30. Make sure you're there, because I promise you, you do not want to miss this one. Yeah? Big up yourselves each and every time. Smash the likes. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.